I'm not so sure that I like the idea of getting older. No, not one little bit. And I'm not so sure that I've got any control over it. So with that being said, it's really about how we grow older. That's relevant, for sure. Now, as you can see, I'm not your typical 20-something YouTuber, but what I'd like to do in this particular video is talk to you about 5 tips in staying relevant and growing older with grace. You know, 65 is no fun. I turned 65 about 6 weeks ago, and I gotta tell you, it's been playing on my mind. How to stay relevant and what I'm doing, you know, not that I've got the corner figured out or this whole area figured out on what to do as we grow older, but I'd like to share with you some things that I'm finding that have made a difference in my life. Oh my, the flies are just too bad to do this out here. So we're gonna pop in the cottage and we're gonna do it all from inside. Number 1, diet. The elephant in the room. All right, 2 things that I have done. Number 1 is I have reduced my caloric intake, and number 2, improved what I eat. And by that I mean that I've eliminated a bunch of things, you know, like fats or, where I live in Newfoundland, deep fried fish and chips. It sounds terrible, but it tastes really, really good. But, you know, I've eliminated those things. Things I've also eliminated would be bread, okay? Gluten. All right, you know, I haven't been absolutely one-dimensional on that. That doesn't mean that nothing that enters my mouth has gluten in it, but by and large, I have gotten rid of that. Number 2, I've gotten rid of dairy and eliminated dairy. I spend an awful lot more time eating vegetables, okay? An awful lot more vegetables. I still eat meat and chicken and sort of watch that balance, but you know, this is all about improving the quality of food that goes in my body. 2 things, and then when you couple that with reducing your caloric intake, oh, by the way, almost no sugar, no desserts. I have eliminated all of that as well. So what happens is, yes, I still am hungry, but I also feel that my body is processing all of the food in my stomach. I never ever feel bloated, and it's like I'm running cleaner. I mean, does that make sense to you? And so being a little bit hungry doesn't bother me because I get the benefit of feeling like I'm running cleaner. It's like I have higher octane fuel in the gas tank. One of the other ways that I worked at reducing my caloric intake was intermittent fasting. And there is lots of study in reducing the amount of hours that you eat in the run of a day. I remember the idea of fasting sounded absolutely horrible, but you know, in fact, just reducing the amount of hours in the run of a day that you eat, I think can do wonders for your health and can do also wonders for your weight. Now, I've thankfully not had a weight problem, but by and large, eating smaller amounts and in shorter periods of time has really changed me and changed the way that I feel on a regular basis. The next one is sleep. Now this is a very, very important one, okay? Most of us don't spend enough time focused on sleep, but I think sleep is one of those things that can regenerate your body, okay? Think of all of the things you do, whether it's exercise or diet or whatever. It's all about allowing your body time to regenerate. And shorting yourself on sleep, I think, can be very, very problematic. Number 1, you need to be a little bit disciplined about when you go to bed. So if you're aiming to be in bed by 10:30, I think you need to start around 10, 5 after 10. Look over if there's any dishes to be done, you need to get them done. 10:25 is the wrong time to be doing that because it sets up this out of breath thing as you try to rush your way through to try to get everything done before you go to bed. Remember, the pacing before you go to bed also starts to prep yourself for being mentally ready to go to sleep. The last thing you want to do, of course, is to get into bed and not be able to go to sleep. So having that 20 to 30 minutes before you go to bed to take the time to quiet your body down, I think will allow you to be ready. Now remember, and the other thing that you want to do is don't eat 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. I mean, the last thing you want to do is put your mind to sleep and leave your poor stomach full of food, still chugging their way through the evening. So your body is still not going to feel rested in the morning. I would also counsel you not to drink in the evening, okay? If at all, you should try not to drink. It certainly used to fool up my sleep. I get a much better night's sleep now that alcohol does not form part of the evening. And so altogether, 8 hours of sleep, watch the food before you go to bed, no alcohol, and start early to have a nice routine as you head there. Now, exercise is number 3. Now, you also know that this is Ebby, by the way, and she's an important part of my exercise routine, aren't you, Eb? One of the issues that I have, of course, as we get older, is flexibility. And what I like to do in the morning is stretch, okay? Stretching is a very, very important part of what I do to get my day going. And you know what? For a 20-year-old, you get out of bed, everything is fine, but not so as you get older. So stretching is critically important. The other one is a little bit of yoga. Yoga allows, which is sort of almost part of the stretching thing, allows me to be much more nimble about what I do through the day. And then the last one is I hike with Ebby. Ebby is about a 115-pound giant schnauzer and who is 7 years old, and we love her to death. So the answer is make sure that exercise is part of this sort of hack as we get older, because there's no way to grow old gracefully unless you've got mobility. If we think about growing older, it's about our health age, not our chronological age. And exercise plays a very important. So think of it now. We've talked about sleep. We've talked about diet, now we've talked about exercise. So we've got a couple of more yet to come, but please know that exercise forms a very important part of staying healthy and enjoying the rest of your life. Number 4 is meditation. Now, where meditation fits in my life is I didn't practice meditation over the years. I was one of those sort of adrenaline junkies working a quick-paced environment, and I still do. And I was used to that sort of tight chest feeling that you get, or that pit in your stomach when things go off the rails. And my answer to that for 40 years was to power my way through it. And I find now has a bigger effect on me. And maybe it's a cumulative effect of powering through that stress over the years. And now what I do is I meditate. It's a type of meditation called mindfulness. A fellow named Sam Harris has an app, and I happen to follow that. And I find that very, very good. What it really does for me, it allows me to dial down the stress that I feel. Like in the run of a day, we all run into things going well, boom, and then you hit something that takes everything off the rails, and you can feel the pressure either in your stomach or in your chest. And that's what mindfulness allows me to do. It allows me to de-escalate the effect that it's having on my body. And you know what? I can think of few things in my life that have made as much of an impact as this mindfulness meditation. So, you know, when I think of exercise, when I think of diet, all of these things work in conjunction, but mindfulness meditation has really allowed me to work through these stressful things, not be afraid, not that I was ever afraid, but not be concerned about when they come, because I can make that stressfulness disappear very quickly with meditation. 10 minutes in the morning, all right, sets me on the right path for the rest of the day. And then when these, events come up, I'm ready for them. I can enjoy, in fact, I do. I enjoy my work so much more now that I have meditation as part of that. I would really recommend it. Number 5 is relationships. Now, relationships are critical, and no question that I work very, very hard to maintain them. But the Mayo Clinic says that people that maintain relationships as they get older have less chance of 1, depression, number 2, lower blood pressure, and number 3, have a better mass body index. I think, when coupled with all of the other things, you can just see that relationships round things out wonderfully. And the relationships don't need to be complicated, forced relationships. They can be any sort of thing. Stop, spend more time with people in conversation. They don't need to be your best friend, but if you do slow down a little bit and understand the nourishing importance of relationships, whether it be with your spouse or whether it be with an incidental encounter, stop, spend a moment, and just like sleep, just like diet, you have to understand that you're nourishing your body by working on your relationships. So there it is, the 5 of them that done well in conjunction with each other. And that's really, really the key here. It's not about selectively picking one of these, not at all. I think what it is about using them together. Consider them as a whole, and then together, I think that we can grow older, more gracefully, healthier, and healthier is the key, I believe. Healthier is the key. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. All right, let's close it out. I've got a question for you. For 64 years, I never wore a beard. And I have been this year. One of those sort of mid-60s thing where I'm just going to do something I haven't done before. My daughter says, hey, Dad, it's a keeper. My wife says, no, lose the beard, lose the beard. I'd like to hear from you. Tell me what you think. Should I lose the beard? Tell me in the comments, and I will look forward to reading them. Bye for now.